headlines this hour. World's largest Islamic body calls for prosecution of Israel for the Gaza aid carnage. The U.S. Special Envoy says the Afghan war will not end in a clear-cut military victory. And also this hour, Amnesty says the U.S. used cluster bombs to kill dozens of civilians in Yemen. Well, you're watching World News here on Press TV. Many thanks for joining us this hour. Now, the Organization of the Islamic Conference, the OIC, says a special commission should be set up to prosecute Israel for its attack on the Gaza aid flotilla. The organization has called an emergency meeting in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, to coordinate a response to the Israeli attack. Iran's Foreign Minister Manouchehr Mottaki said at the meeting that Israel must be sued over its deadly attack on the flotilla in international waters. Mottaki described the Israeli attack as terrorism and piracy. He said the UN Security Council must issue a binding resolution that would prevent Tel Aviv from committing similar crimes. Mottaki also called on Muslim nations to make every effort to end the Gaza blockade. Well, earlier we asked international lawyer Franklin where the abducted aid activists legally stand. Let's take a listen to what he had to say.
Well, they can certainly take legal action in their own countries because almost every country's law, including the United States, under the Federal Tort Claims Act, will allow the family of the 19-year-old American gentleman to use American federal courts. Virtually every country of some 40 countries can bring cases, individuals can bring cases against Israel. And under many systems of law, they can attach Israeli property. It's called a prejudgment attachment. So certainly I expect there to be many lawsuits. Of course, the Belgian system, which does away substantially with impunity in favor of universal jurisdiction, that's the trend of the law today. So I think many courtroom doors will be open to these complainants, and I suspect that there will be, virtually everyone will bring a legal action for a number of things, for murder, for assault and battery, for malicious destructive of property, for conversion of personal property, from hijacking, from taking, unlawfully arresting people and detaining them.
Well, Ankara has taken another swipe at Israel over its actions in the Middle East. Turkey's Prime Minister says Ankara will continue to push for Israel to account for its state terrorism and lift the Gaza blockade. Recep Tayyip Erdogan said Turkey opposes Tel Aviv for turning Gaza into a, quote, open-air prison for the Palestinians. Meanwhile, media reports say Turkey's Justice Ministry is looking at ways to take legal action against Israel over its maritime attack on the Gaza aid convoy. Turkish prosecutors are seeking to build a case against Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Defense Minister Ehud Barak, and head of Joint Chiefs of Staff Gabi Ashkenazi. Relations between Turkey and Israel have deteriorated since Tel Aviv's all-out offensive against Gaza in 2009. The international outcry continues over Israel's attack on the Gaza aid flotilla. Most nations want an independent and impartial probe into the incident, but Israel is resisting the demand, claiming the attack is an internal issue.
Israeli officials have dismissed outright the possibility of an international investigation into the attack on the aid flotilla.
Not at all. I think it's an Israeli matter. Clearly, the blockade on Gaza is necessary from security point of view. If we shall lift the blockade on Gaza, the military terror, rocket blockade on the people of Israel will increase, and of course we cannot afford it. And there is a lot of hypocrisy here.
Israel has the ability and the right to investigate itself, not to be investigated by any international board. I don't think the United States would want an international inquiry into its military activities in Afghanistan, for example.
Tel Aviv continues to defy global calls for an international probe. Even Tel Aviv's Western allies have joined the chorus of calls for an impartial inquiry. French President Nicolas Sarkozy has urged Israel to accept an international probe into the attack on the 8th Flotilla. Earlier, UN Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon proposed a multinational panel that would include representatives from Israel, the US and Turkey. Meanwhile, the Hamas government in Gaza has called on the UN to take punitive measures against Israel.
We hope that Ban Ki-moon and the United Nations take decisions equivalent to the crime and use all their authority to isolate the Zionist entity and take its leaders to court because of these crimes, and to take a quick and immediate decision to lift the siege of the Gaza Strip as a first step at least.
It will be interesting to see just how long Israel can resist before it buckles under the pressure for an international investigation into its bloody attack on the Gaza 8th Flotilla.
7 peace activists released by Israeli forces have arrived in Jordan. The activists were abducted on board an Irish-flagged ship bound for the Gaza Strip. 6 Malaysian nationals and 1 Cuban have been released. 4 Irish activists, including Nobel Peace Prize winner Mairead Maguire, and 8 crew members are expected to be freed later. They've all been forced to sign a waiver stripping them of their right to appeal their expulsion. The Rachel Corrie was boarded by the Israeli Navy on Saturday. It was then towed to the southern Israeli port of Ashdod. The activists and crew members were detained and transferred to a prison in Tel Aviv for interrogation. The vessel was carrying over 1,000 tons of aid and supplies to Gaza. It was the latest attempt to break Israel's 3-year-long blockade on the coastal strip. At least 5 NATO soldiers, 4 of them Americans, have been killed in Afghanistan. NATO said in a statement that 1 soldier died in a bomb blast in southern Afghanistan. A 2nd soldier was killed in a militant attack in the east of the country. 3 other NATO troopers were killed in a vehicle accident in the south. A NATO spokeswoman said 4 of the dead were U.S. troops. She did not reveal the nationality of the 5th. The latest deaths bring the number of NATO troops killed in Afghanistan so far this year to 235. And meanwhile, the U.S. Special Envoy to Afghanistan says there will be no clear-cut military victory in the Afghan war. Richard Holbrooke says Washington understands that a political settlement in Afghanistan will ultimately end the war. Holbrooke says the U.S. accepts the fact that the political solution could involve the participation of so-called reformed Taliban members in the Afghan government. He says Washington supports Afghan President Hamid Karzai's peace offer to the Taliban, but will not accept a settlement with Al-Qaeda. Now, for a bit more on this, we're being able to find an exit strategy. Do you think leaving Afghanistan the way it stands today